as we move along. Now, when we're looking at Israel, and apropos the meetings of Prime Minister Netanyahu in Davos, maybe meeting with Turkey, everybody has the one word in their mind, and that would be natural gas. Because 1 week ahead of the trilateral summit between the Prime Minister of Israel, Greece, and the President of Cyprus to be held in Nicosia, a new East Mediterranean alliance seems to be emerging, fueled by Israeli natural gas. Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will meet with his counterparts, Alexis Tsipras and Nikos Anastasiades, next Wednesday to discuss cooperation in the fields of security, tourism, but above all, energy. And energy is the big word here. After long months of fierce demonstrations and political maneuvering, Netanyahu managed to bypass antitrust laws and signed Israel's natural gas outlines, giving Noble Energy and Israeli energy tycoon Yitzhak Teshuvah an unprecedented monopoly on the country's gas reservoirs. Now, in doing so, he stated matters of national security and the need to export the gas to gain diplomatic power. After Egypt mostly rejected importing natural gas from Israel and Turkey, conditioned the possibility pending an end to the blockade in Gaza, Greece and Cyprus are now Netanyahu's main hope, one would say. But with gas prices falling to new lows and raising doubts around Israel's energy policy, can Prime Minister Netanyahu leverage Israel's gas or Israeli gas for regional pacts? Or are these just pipe dreams? With me in studio, of course, is Tal Shalev, I-24 News diplomatic correspondent. Take a look at your report about this matter. Break it down from there.
In a stormy and unstable Middle East, positive talk about cooperation and partnership is a rarity. However, a new regional alliance appears to be emerging in which stability, development, common interests, and coordination are the key words. Welcome to the East Mediterranean neighborhood. In the past 7 years, natural gas discoveries in the territorial waters of Israel, Cyprus, and Egypt have made the Mediterranean Sea one of the most economically trendy areas in the world. Oil and gas companies are touring the region, spending a lot of money to see if they can make more. But they have also prompted hope of overcoming traditional geopolitical divides.
The gas for itself will not change the geopolitics of the Middle East. But gas is part of some factors that might change the Middle East geopolitical situation, and Israel as center, its center gravity might move from one side to another. Because if you look at the Middle East today, everything is changed. Collapse of countries, diminishing of rulers, and so on and so forth. Israel is an anchor of stability in this area. If you connect to this stability the effectiveness of the gas revelation, which allow Israel to build a network of interest with other countries in the region, that might change the center of gravity of the capabilities of Israel.
The Israeli natural gas basin has been under large scrutiny, and the regulatory framework for the deal was held in limbo by the antitrust authorities, giving the government a huge political headache. Only in November 2015 did the government get an all-clear to its development. However, it has led to a flurry of diplomacy between the new potential energy players. Later this month, the Israeli Prime Minister will be meeting his Greek and Cypriot counterparts in Nicosia for a first-ever tripartite meeting, bringing the diplomatic renaissance between the countries to a point of culmination.
It's about necessity. It's about reality. Cyprus, Israel and Greece are countries in this crucial neighborhood. We have to cooperate for security reasons, for political reasons, for economic reasons, and for energy as well.
Cyprus and Greece used to be among Israel's biggest European critics, but today they seem to believe cooperation with Israel can promote their interests. At a time of growing European pressure vis-à-vis the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, Greece and Cyprus are Israel's new best friends. Greece has decided not to follow the EU's directive to label settlement products, and both countries are stepping up their support of Israel in the hostile European Union.
These two countries will not change their policy again. Cyprus, too, is a member of the European Union. And but it'll be good. It's any time that our leaders meet with foreign leaders and so on and so forth. It's a good thing, especially at this time when so many others want to boycott us or etc. So it's good to show that we are strong in the region, that we have allies. All these things are very good especially from a public relations point of view.
One of the key factors that accelerated the new East Med alliance was the deterioration in Israeli-Turkish relations since the 2010 Mavi Marmara incident. Greece, Cyprus, and Israel all shared a mutual enmity towards Turkey. However, as Jerusalem and Ankara are making steps towards rapprochement, the geopolitical game in the East Med is becoming more complicated. Despite the political estrangement, Turkey is the potential natural gas big customer.
This is always the fear in Greece. They always asked me, and what if Israel gets together with Turkey again? Will this destroy our new relationship that has started around 2010? This dramatic change in the relationship. And we used to say, and I sort of believe in it, that right now the relationship with Greece and Cyprus is strong enough. It stands on its 2 feet, on its 2 own feet. So hopefully it can survive a rapprochement.
I don't connect the improvements of the relations between Israel and Turkey directly with the solution of the Cyprus problem. But I can say that if we reach a solution of the Cyprus problem, and at the same time we have improvements in the relations between Israel and Turkey, this gives a lot of other options for the energy sector of Israel and Cyprus. And this is something that we have to have in mind.
Other players also have interest in the new East Med energy hub. The proposition of exporting the gas to Europe and decreasing the continent's dependence on Russian gas could make the emerging basin a real game changer.
It is a clear message from European experts and members of NATO that they have very strong interest on that strong alliance. They want to see their Mediterranean wing less polarized, more stable, more connected, that they can trust and concentrate all their efforts fighting the Islamic extremist people like ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and so on and so forth. So no question that if we succeed to build this network of 2 or even 3 circles with our neighboring countries, with Greece, Cyprus, and maybe Italy, and later on with Turkey, no one will be more happier than the European Union and NATO.
The offshore gas bonanza is yet to materialize. There are a lot of obstacles to overcome in order to achieve a concrete energy project. Nevertheless, Jerusalem is hoping that whatever lies underneath these waters could change the balance of power in the region.
And I-24 News diplomatic correspondent Tal Shalev is with me in studio. Also, former Israeli ambassador to Turkey and international relations expert Yael. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And also Van Leer Institute researcher Amnon Portugali. I want to thank you for being with us in studio this morning. Tal, it's a controversial, first of all, a report that is very controversial in the minds of Israelis, because there are those who will claim that it actually is not really going to be any way of support to Israel's international agenda or standing in the region. In your findings, what did you realize?
Well, it really depends. It's true that because the gas framework that Netanyahu was promoting was so controversial and became such a hot political topic, people who were supportive of the gas framework will probably agree with the regional or the diplomatic outlook that some of the people in the article in the piece are presenting. And then if someone objects to the gas framework, he will say, well, that's just a spin by the Israeli government, because it is true that Netanyahu used national security as an excuse to promoting this very controversial gas framework. But that being said, when you speak to high-ranking Israeli, Cypriot, and Greece officials, they say it's more about, it's not all about the gas. It's not all about the money. They say there is more to this emerging alliance than the gas and the money. They say that the gas and the money is a significant part of it, but it is also about maritime security that has now become much more important now that there are gas infrastructure. There's a natural gas infrastructure that all countries want to protect.
Right.
So it really depends in Israel, in the Israeli discourse, on which part of the political map and what was your political stance towards the framework to agree. But there are but the fact is, just this week, Greece and Cyprus, and we said this in the report, just this week, Greece and Cyprus did help Israel and the European Union to soften what was supposed to be a very, very harsh resolution. That will be something that Netanyahu will have to thank them when he meets them next week.
On Thursday.
On Thursday. And the fact is that there are changes that we are seeing. If you want to believe in a very dark diplomatic era for Israel, I do think that Greece and Cyprus and this alliance and the pressure it is exerting on Turkey, that we now also see the steps of rapprochement with Turkey. It has to do also with this alliance. And I do think that there is something positive of just having a positive outlook for anything diplomatic in Israel.
Anything Alon Liel, because you're former ambassador to Turkey, when we're looking though at the Turkey stance, I mean, the detractors of this deal, the detractors of the gas so-called framework would say that Netanyahu's hopes that Turkey is actually banking on Israel's natural gas are pipe dreams, that that's not something that's going to happen in the near future. First of all, do you think that is the case? And is this something that can actually help the standing of Israel vis-a-vis Turkey internationally?
First, I think something interesting happened. The ball is in the Israeli court, in Netanyahu.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Surprisingly, this time. With our relations with Turkey, it was usually Turkey that decided if the relations will be good or bad. Now,
it is quite amazing to see.
Also, partially because of the gas, Netanyahu has three options. He has the Egyptian-Jordanian option, he has the Greek Cypriot option, and he has the Turkish option. This is a mega decision because some of the options are mutually exclusive. First of all, it's extremely important for Israel to show the world, to prove the world that we can export gas in the region. Right. We are not isolated. There is no...
I'm going to have to stop and ask you, though. Supposedly the Egypt Pact has gone off the table because the Egyptians have already gestured that they don't need the Israeli gas.
At the moment, because of all kind of legal issues, the negotiations have been stopped. But there are drafts signed, and the option is still around.
Okay.
Of the Jordanian, definitely, but also the Egyptian. I'm not saying it's something that will necessarily happen, but it's Netanyahu that can decide at this point if he sticks to Egypt and Jordan, and Egypt puts a lot of pressures not to go with Turkey, if he sticks to Greece or Cyprus, or if he makes a dramatic breakthrough toward Turkey. It's an unbelievable decision.
Turkey, on its face, rhetorically says that they will only renew relations vis-a-vis that, or i.e. that any kind of deals with Israel if the blockade from Gaza will be lifted, which is something that Netanyahu will never...
It's not, the formula can be reached within minutes. A formula, because the blockade, what is the blockade? Things are going in, things are going out. Obviously, if he goes with Turkey, it will increase the impact of Turkey in Gaza, which is something that the Egyptians are reckoning. But there are so many dimensions here. The issue of Greece and Cyprus in Europe today is extremely important to Netanyahu. Don't forget who is ruling Greece today. It's not the right wing. And if Netanyahu goes with Turkey, they might change the relationship and even recognize Palestine as a state, not by the parliament, by the government. Because this was their original position. So a lot of the Greek, the soft and positive Greek Cypriot, look what's happening in Europe. Every country in Europe fighting for Israel now is extremely important to Netanyahu. The big five are not with Israel. The small ones are fighting. If he is losing Greece and Cyprus in the EU, it's I wouldn't say critical, but very important. So there are so many considerations. And the interesting thing is that there is a deadline.
Right.
27th is the deadline. The meetings start on the 27th, and he has to decide which way to go.
Which way to go. Speaking of the 27th, which is actually next week, but from the Venlio Institute, we have Amnon Portugali, because all of these so-called big political plays and the gains that Netanyahu may or may not make from the gas deals, you're probably the one who would argue they kind of ignore the people of Israel, don't they?
No, they can't. But I think there is not much chance of exports of gas from Israel.
Why?
That to start. And the second point is what you said. It takes at least 4 or 5 years to start exporting gas. It's not something that we can do tomorrow. We cannot just open a valve and the gas will flow. There is no... We have to develop either Tamar to increase...
You need infrastructure, basically.
And it will take at least 4 years. By that time, Egypt will certainly don't need any more Israeli gas.
They'll have their own.
So they will have their own. They will be able to even to export it. So the Egyptian option is really not there.
Off the table, as you said. Okay.
Turkey, on the other hand, is possible, but there are also other problems, except of what Alon said. There is a problem with Russia. What Russia will do? Russia is now supplying 80% of Turkey's gas. They would not stand just like that.
Right.
Gazprom knows how to fight. There is also, obviously, the relation between Turkey and Cyprus, because the gas pipe to Turkey has to pass through the economic zone of Cyprus. So
Right.
Cyprus is there. And if Cyprus is there, they have the Aphrodite field, which they want to export gas from that field. And more interesting, that field is owned by Delek and Nobel.
Okay.
So there is a kind of beautiful conflict of interest everywhere. And not to mention the Tanap pipe from the Caspian area through Turkey, which will come at about 2018.
So all these options that were described right now, in your mind, are what? Not real options?
Not real options.
Not real options.
No.
Okay, then what is the gas deal? What is the gas deal then, Alon Liel? I'm going to ask you then. If those are not real options, doesn't that make it kind of just a PR stunt by the Israeli Prime Minister saying that he has those 3 options?
Look, I see the situation a little differently. First of all, he has to decide. I'm not speaking on what will happen in 4 years. He has to decide now about the option. Now, I don't know if it will materialize, but he has to decide.
He has to make a decision.
He has to make a decision. Now,
That's the point.
Now the dilemma
And he's
is...
not so good at that, just...
Making decisions.
No,
yes.
but the dilemma, as I see it, is if he wants Europe or he wants to export gas. A huge dilemma.
Right.
And in order to export gas and sign the deal with Turkey this week and exchange ambassadors and declare that he's starting gas talks, this is a dramatic turn, and I don't know if he will do it before the meetings with Greece and Cyprus.
Yeah.
So.
And if I could just add, the fact that even if what we're talking about is the fact that this natural gas has made this area a new geopolitical situation. If we're talking about Russia has interest, the EU has interest, NATO has interest, all of these countries have an interest, and we're interested did not exist 5, 6, 7 years ago.
It's being a player.
It's becoming a significant player.
A regional player.
There is another point here.
One second, we have 2 seconds to go. Yeah, there's another point, that's why.
That energy relations follows the political relations and not vice versa.
Right.
Those who promote that it will have benefits because of political benefits, because of exporting gas, are putting the carts before the horses. It's vice versa.
Politics is above energy, I agree. Especially in this region.
Politics, apparently, in this region and in every genre and profession is above anything. I want to thank you all for being with me this morning. Again, an issue that will not be resolved so quickly, but next Thursday, we'll see maybe what Netanyahu's choice was. When we get back, a roundup of this week's top television, film, and music stories. We'll take a closer look, as it is the weekend. Stay with us for the news.